Okay, I said earlier I was going to show you how to do XviD recording, and I meant it. The procedure is identical to XviD recording except for a few more things to be aware of. If you want very high recording quality in the least amount of space, this is your best option. The first thing we need to do is configure the codec like we did with XviD. Now we can do this the same way we did with VirtualDub, but XviD is generous enough to include a utility just for that. So let's take a look at that. Alright, I'm going to use Explorer, but you can probably just use your Start menu. The folder you want is likely to be under Programs, then XviD. Now you may wonder why I'm not doing that. That's because I have a custom interface I made that looks kind of alien, so Nuisa said I should keep that hidden, like a deformed cousin you don't want people to know about. So that's what I'm doing. If you want to try and go to the folder I'm at, you can go to C Drive, Documents and Settings, All Users, Start Menu, Programs, XviD. Now this may be different for you depending on how your system's configured, and I bet Vista has its own way of doing things too. So your best bet is really the Start menu. Anyway, you'll want to double click on Configure Encoder. Now these are about what your settings will look like when you do a fresh install of XviD. There are all kinds of ways to configure XviD. I'm going to show you how to use it to record in the maximum quality settings in a way that will be the most compatible for recording. If you use XviD to encode your final videos, you can get them much smaller than what I'll be showing you, but this way you can get the best recording quality from it. Okay, first make sure your profile is set on unrestricted, then click on the More button next to it. Now for quantization type, change this from H.263 to MPEG. Now go down and uncheck BVOPs. These are used to make B frames, which isn't going to help our compatibility any. For level, you can leave this alone. And for aspect ratio, make sure it's set to square for the pixels. Then you can press OK. Next, make sure encoding type is set to single pass. Otherwise, our results won't be usable from this recording. Two-pass recording is for making a more efficient encoding that won't work in just one session. Let's click on More. If these numbers look the same as my screen, you don't need to change anything here. Now make sure this slider is set all the way to the left, so it will say Quantizer 1 up at the top. This will give you the maximum quality for the codec. Now under Quality Preset, change this to User Defined, then click on More. For Motion Search Precision, leave that on Ultra High, and for VHQ mode, just turn that off. And make sure Use Chroma Motion is checked. Frame rate drop should be set to 0, and for this setting, maximum iframe interval, remember how we made keyframes in the demo smoother? Well, this does a similar thing for the video encoding. This determines how many frames it can go before it has to create a new keyframe. The only thing this impacts is how easy it is to scan through your clip. The default setting of 300 should be fine. Okay, now click on the Quantization tab at the top. First, go and uncheck Trellis Quantization. That won't make a big difference, but it will make the quality slightly higher. Now, just make sure these first four numbers read the way they do here, 1 and 31. If it's set that way, you'll get the maximum quality from the codec. Now click OK. Then Other Options. Just in case we don't have enough options for you yet. Under 4cc Used, make sure it's set to XviD, then go down and uncheck Display Encoding Status. This will prevent encoding information from being displayed that we don't care about. Now Decoder, you can leave this as it is, and Common, Automatic should be fine. Now click on OK. And that's the last of what we need to configure. Now press OK. Now when we encode in the game, this will already be good to go. So let's head over to the game.